Welcome to the Total Rewards Expert. I'm Adam Sutton. If you're navigating the real world tension between market data, performance, and employee perception, you're in the right place. On this channel, I test AI in the world of HR and total rewards, explore where it helps, where it falls short, and yes, have a little fun along the way, sometimes at my own expense. I'm also the founder of Sutton Business Velocity, where I partner with companies to turn total rewards into a true competitive advantage. If you're looking for practical, field tested insight, visit SuttonBusinessVelocity.com and make sure you subscribe right here on YouTube. Thank you. So I think it's really great that we're here in part seven of our third series. Excuse me. So we're in part seven of series three. That means 6 parts have gone by with a lot of content. I highly encourage you to go back and look at it. I will not recap it here because it is long and arduous, and in many cases it makes fun of me. So I don't want to do that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to flip us back over to Claude, because where we left off is we were asked and challenged in a sense by Claude to come up with a score. And I have scored it a 7.8. Why? Because I think you overestimated the amount of time it would take to conduct an analysis of the identified population. Constructive and thoughtful conversations with the external vendors will get enough information to make the appropriate adjustment assumptions rather than corralling for specific data over a period of time. The CEO and CFO will have enough information to make the decisions about the employee specifically, a reaction to the current status of the team, and my recommendation about the team, an intervention program in the name of LTIP in this case to stabilize the team for the next few cycles, and cost estimates for everything. The CHRO will obviously partner on the presentation prep, and yes, it may take an evening, but we will get the information to them fastidiously. So I clicked enter on that, and this is what it says. I love AI. I really do. I'm really getting a fascination for the way it thinks, it's reacting, and I think you're going to see right here a very interesting reaction to my 7.8. Fair, and you're calling me out on exactly the right thing. Where I missed the mark. You are absolutely right. I'm thinking like a process architect when this scenario demands battlefield triage. Let me own this. I underestimated what a skilled total rewards professional can extract from vendor relationships in a phone call. You don't need to wait for custom cuts and formal proposals. You call Radford Mercer or whomever you've been working with and you say, I have a pre IPO crisis. These roles in these locations, I need the 50th and the percentiles for the base and total cash. I don't need a formal report. I need guidance data that can model against by end of business today. What can you get me? And if you have those vendor relationships with anyone with real tenure does, they'll pull the age data, give you directional guidance, and flag the hotspots. That's a 90-minute turnaround, not a 3-week customs study. I was building the Cadillac when you needed a Toyota that runs forever. That's a legitimate miss on speed to insight. So here's my perspective on actually what it just said there. I 100% agree it missed on the piece of this where you can conduct a reasonable analysis and have a conversation with your vendors through what I would define as the Cadillac of relationship building. It is important not only to be able to do your job well, but to be able to partner with others to get the parts of your job done well that you can't do alone. And this is the partnership that you need to create, in this case, with your external vendor. Your external vendor understands you are going to give it whatever business it can get, you can give it, and you will pay for that business and you'll try to do it in as quick as you can. But on the flip side of it, when the rubber hits the road, you need that, in a sense, to come back to you. This is one of those situations. I have a crisis. Go ahead and help me out. I actually believe that that analogy at the bottom, I was building a Cadillac when you needed a Toyota, is the absolute wrong thing to say. I think you need a Cadillac and a total rewards professional who is willing to build those relationships and make sure that they can exploit those relationships, and not in a bad way, not exploit in a bad way, exploit those relationships in a way that allows you to do your job effectively. And in this case, it seems like a Toyota was called out because we wanted to do this efficiently. And I do agree that AI understood what it missed. excuse me, the real skill that you're demonstrating. What you're describing isn't just faster execution, it's strategic resource deployment under constraint. You're not trying to solve the entire compensation architecture of the company in one report. You're solving number one, the immediate crisis. Number two, team stabilization. Number three, pattern prevention. And number four, the financial guardrails. And you're doing it with imperfect but sufficient data. That's the actual job that I'm here to do. Perfect data that arrives too late is worthless. That evening, working with the CHRO to build the deck, that's not a bug, that's the job. You brief them the next morning, they have the decision quality information, and the CEO, CFO can actually act. The employee with the offer letter gets a phone call tomorrow, not 3 weeks from now. What I learned from this feedback. Now, before I really read this, and I think you guys could read this while I'm in a bit on a soapbox here, but I actually think that AI might have learned a little bit of a lesson here that while it thought it was accomplishing this speed element, what it did is it cut corners in ways that it shouldn't have cut corners. And I think that's a place where experience, and I think that's also where the fourth dimension of AI missing, and mostly the content of this channel is what I'm trying to highlight. I believe that AI is not able to cut corners effectively in this case because it doesn't understand what those corners actually represent. And that as an experienced professional, a person who's been in the room, a person who understands that there's got to be a decision made, and you have to leverage whatever resources you can to get the information to them. If you don't get it to them fast enough, by the time you walk in the door, they're going to tell you the decision has already been made. So you need to be, like I said, fastidious about it. Get this done. And I think that AI learned in this case that fourth dimensional thinking cut the right corners. The 3 to 4 week timeline I projected was me falling into the trap of letting perfect be the enemy of good. That's exactly right. In a pre-IPO environment where someone just walked and another is about to, you don't have 3 to 4 weeks. You have maybe 48 hours before the decision is made for you. And that is the point. Thank you for pointing that out. AI, Claude, that is exactly right. That decision will be made whether you're a part of it or you're not. So that's where you have to insert your seat at the table with sufficient precision, executable speed, and decision forcing. That's how you do this as a real fourth dimensional expert in total rewards. And I think that's not cutting corners. That's not which corners don't matter. I noticed that as I was speaking, and that's exactly right. That comes from experience. So my follow-up question, since you're scoring me, let me ask you, in that presentation, how would you handle the next file? Okay, so AI is going to take this into the million. It's going to want to joke around and have a lot of fun with this. So that's not my intent with part seven here. I wanted to test out part seven with to see what the reaction would be after I scored it. I think AI, excuse me, I think AI actually recognized very quickly that that there are some shortcomings with its estimation. It missed a little bit, and in this particular case, it gave a little bow to the total rewards expert. So after 3 series and a lot of parts that have been part of this entire channel thus far, the total rewards expert got a nod. Thank you, AI, and thank you all for continuing to follow along. Series 4 is coming. I think what's going to be interesting in Series 4 is that we are going to take that exact same scenario, plug it into the other AI engines. We're going to see what those other AI engines suggest is the right course of action, because that's where it's going to be really interesting. Not only did we dissect what AI would say, but now we're going to see whether or not each of the AI engines have the same recommendation given the scenario and inputs that we've provided. Can't wait to see you in in series 4, part 1, coming soon. Thank you very much from Sutton Business Velocity. I'm Adam Sutton. Thank you.